If you want to change the direction of your life, the first thing you need to understand is that no one else is coming to do it for you. No one is going to push you to wake up earlier, to read that book, to hit the gym, or to sit in silence and reflect on who you are and who you could become. That responsibility falls on you. And that's a terrifying thought for some people because it means there's no one to blame. But it's also liberating because if you have the power to destroy your potential through inaction, then you also have the power to build something incredible through discipline and effort. You see, too many people waste their energy worrying about what others think, talking about their goals instead of working on them, seeking validation from people who aren't even walking the same path. And in doing so, they lose sight of the one thing that truly matters: their own growth. If you want to change your circumstances, if you want to elevate your life, you have to become obsessed with improving yourself. Not for the approval of others, not so you can show off or prove something, but because it is the right thing to do, because deep down you know that if you don't take control of your own development, you will stay stuck. The harsh truth is that most people don't even scratch the surface of their potential because they're too distracted. They scroll endlessly, consume junk information, engage in meaningless debates, and fill their minds with nonsense that does nothing but drain their energy. And then they wonder why they feel lost, why they're anxious, why they can't seem to make progress. It's because they are feeding the wrong things. If you want to see real growth, you need to become intentional with your time, your focus, and your actions. Start by asking yourself, who do I want to be? Not just in the vague sense of wanting success or happiness, but in real, tangible terms. Do you want to be disciplined? Do you want to be someone who others respect? Not because of what you say, but because of what you embody? Do you want to be strong in both mind and body? If the answer is yes, then you need to commit to the work required to become that person. And that work is not glamorous, it's not loud. It's done in silence, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments when no one is watching. Every single day, you are either getting better or you are staying the same. There is no standing still. You are either building yourself up or letting yourself decay. And that's why self-improvement isn't just some motivational concept. It's survival. The world is moving forward whether you like it or not. The question is, are you moving with it or are you being left behind? If you take this seriously, if you truly commit to self-improvement, something incredible happens. You start to feel a deep sense of purpose. Because progress, no matter how small, creates momentum. The more you improve, the more you believe in yourself. The more you believe in yourself, the more action you take. And eventually you look back and realize you've become someone you once only dreamed of being. But you have to be willing to go through the process. You have to be willing to endure the discomfort of growth. Because real improvement isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about doing what's necessary even when you don't feel like it. It's about developing the discipline to push forward when your mind is telling you to quit. And here's the thing. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to seek applause or recognition. Just do the work. Move in silence. Improve quietly. Let your success be the evidence of your discipline. The world doesn't need more people talking about what they're going to do. It needs more people who are simply doing it. So ask yourself right now, are you willing to step up? Are you willing to demand more from yourself? Because if you are, then everything changes. Not overnight, not in a week, but slowly, steadily, and undeniably. And one day, when you look in the mirror, you'll realize that the person staring back at you is no longer a product of the past, but a reflection of everything you chose to become. There's a certain power in silence that most people will never understand. The world today is loud, filled with endless noise, opinions, distractions, And people who believe that if they're not constantly talking, constantly proving themselves, they're somehow losing relevance. But that's not true. In fact, the opposite is often the case. The more you talk, the more you reveal. The more you reveal, the more vulnerable you become to criticism, to doubt, to interference. If you truly want to build something meaningful, whether it's success, strength, wisdom, or resilience, you need to understand the power of keeping quiet and letting your actions speak for themselves. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the most dangerous, most disciplined, and most capable individuals don't feel the need to broadcast their every move? They don't seek attention. They don't explain themselves to people who won't understand. They don't waste their breath convincing others of their worth. Instead, they act, they move, they strategize. And when the time is right, their results do the talking. Most people give away too much of their power by speaking without purpose. They share their goals before they've even begun the work. They argue with those who don't deserve their time. They seek validation from people who have achieved nothing themselves. And in doing so, they dilute their own focus, allowing outside voices to influence their direction. If you want to master yourself, if you want to build real strength, then you need to learn to hold your tongue, to conserve your energy, and to operate with quiet precision. Silence creates mystery. It forces people to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of. And that alone gives you an edge, because when people don't know your next move, they can't interfere with it. They can't plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They can't manipulate you with their opinions. You remain in control, unshaken, focused on what truly matters. But silence isn't just about keeping your plans to yourself. It's also about knowing when to speak and when to listen. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most intelligent. The one who always needs to be heard, who always needs to be right, is usually the least secure. True strength comes from knowing that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to react to every challenge, every insult, every doubter. You don't need to defend yourself against people who will never understand your vision, because at the end of the day, words mean nothing without action. And this is where discipline comes in, because staying silent is not always easy. There will be moments when you want to respond, when you want to prove a point, when you want to defend yourself against people who don't see your potential. But every time you resist that urge, every time you hold your ground and let your results do the talking, you grow stronger. You build a kind of internal power that cannot be shaken. But this isn't about being passive. It's not about letting people walk all over you. It's about understanding that silence, when used correctly, is a weapon, a shield, a strategy. It allows you to observe, to learn, to move with intention instead of impulse. It forces you to become deliberate with your words, ensuring that when you do speak, people listen. And here's the real truth. Most people are addicted to noise. They can't sit in silence because it forces them to confront themselves. It forces them to sit with their own thoughts, their own weaknesses, their own fears. That's why they distract themselves with meaningless conversations, with constant validation seeking, with endless external stimulation. But those who are truly strong, truly in control, they embrace the silence. They use it to think, to plan, to grow. So ask yourself, are you using your words wisely? Are you guarding your plans, your dreams, your energy? Or are you wasting them, giving away pieces of yourself to people who don't deserve them? Because the moment you start choosing silence over unnecessary noise, the moment you start moving with quiet confidence instead of loud desperation, you become unstoppable. Let your success be your voice. Let your discipline be your answer. And let your silence be the thing that keeps the world guessing. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. It's limited. And once you waste it on things that don't matter, you don't get it back. Yet most people spend their days leaking energy in every direction, arguing about pointless things, engaging in meaningless drama, chasing the approval of people who don't even care about them. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted, why they lack motivation, why they can't seem to make progress in their own lives. It's because they've been careless with their energy. They've given it away to people, distractions, and habits that do nothing but drain them. If you want to build something worthwhile, if you want to be someone who commands respect, not through words, but through presence, you need to start protecting your energy. That means being intentional about where you invest your time, who you allow into your life, and what kind of thoughts you entertain. Because every interaction, every conversation, every piece of information you consume is either fueling you or depleting you. And if you don't take control of that, the world will do it for you. Look at the people around you. Some of them lift you up, challenge you, push you to be better. Others, they drain you. They pull you into gossip, negativity, pointless arguments. They plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They exhaust you, not because they need help, but because they thrive on chaos and distraction. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself caught in their web, spending your days putting out fires that you never needed to start in the first place. You have to understand, your energy is finite. You only have so much of it each day, and where you direct it determines what kind of life you build. If you waste it on people who don't respect your time, if you burn it up trying to change others instead of improving yourself, if you throw it away chasing things that don't align with your purpose, then you will always feel empty. You will always feel like you're running in place. And this applies not just to people, but to everything. The content you consume, the conversations you engage in, the thoughts you allow to live in your mind, most people don't realize that their biggest energy drain isn't even external. It's internal. It's the constant overthinking, the self-doubt, the unnecessary worry about things beyond their control. They spend hours replaying conversations, analyzing meaningless situations, stressing over opinions that don't matter. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the energy they could have used to build something real. This is why discipline matters, because when you're disciplined with your energy, you stop reacting to every little thing that tries to pull you off course. You don't entertain drama. You don't engage in pointless debates. You don't waste time explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you conserve that energy. You redirect it. You put it into your work, your growth, your future. And as a result, you start to rise. Not because you're louder, not because you're constantly proving yourself, but because you're focused. Because while everyone else is busy burning themselves out over things that don't matter, you're moving with purpose. And here's the truth. When you start protecting your energy, people will notice. Some will respect you for it, others will resent you. Because the moment you stop engaging in negativity, the moment you stop being accessible to those who drain you, the people who once fed off your attention will try to pull you back in. They'll call you arrogant, selfish, cold, but that's not your problem. Your job is not to keep everyone happy. Your job is to make sure you are using your energy wisely, to make sure that every ounce of effort you put out into the world is going towards something meaningful. So ask yourself, where is your energy going? Who and what are you giving your time, your focus, your life force to? Are these things making you stronger, or are they leaving you empty? Because the moment you start treating your energy like the rare and valuable resource it is, everything changes. You stop running on empty. You stop chasing things that don't matter, and you start building something that does. One of the fastest ways to destroy your own potential is to spend your life measuring yourself against someone else. Yet, that's exactly what most people do. They look at others, what they have, what they've achieved, where they are in life, and instead of focusing on their own path, they feel inadequate. They let comparison drain them of their confidence, their motivation, their joy. And the worst part, they're comparing themselves to an illusion, a carefully curated version of reality that isn't even real. Social media has made this worse. People see the highlights of someone else's life, the success, the vacations, the perfect relationships, and they start to believe they're falling behind. They don't see the struggle, the failures, the self-doubt that person also experiences. They only see the end result, the polished version, and they assume that's the resentment, to self-doubt, to a constant feeling of never being enough. But here's the truth. Someone else's success does not take away from your own potential. Someone else's progress does not mean you're failing. The only person you should be measuring yourself against is the person you were yesterday. Think about it. What good does it do to compare yourself to someone else? Their circumstances are different, their starting point is different, their struggles, their advantages, their experiences. None of it is the same as yours. So why would their timeline have anything to do with yours? Some people achieve success early, others take years. Some people find their purpose at 20, others at 50. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep moving forward, that you keep working, that you keep improving, no matter how long it takes. The problem with comparison is that it makes you focus on the wrong things. Instead of paying attention to your own progress, you're constantly looking sideways, measuring yourself against someone else's journey. And that takes your focus away from where it should be, on yourself, on your own growth, on your own potential. Because the reality is, if you put as much energy into improving yourself as you do into worrying about where others are, you'd be amazed at how far you could go. But this isn't just about success, it's also about happiness. Because comparison doesn't just rob you of motivation, it robs you of joy. It stops you from appreciating what you already have. You could be making incredible progress, achieving things you once only dreamed of, but the moment you see someone doing better, suddenly it doesn't feel like enough. And that's dangerous, because the truth is, no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much progress you make, there will always be someone ahead of you. Always. If your happiness depends on being the best, you will never be satisfied. You will never find peace. So what's the alternative? Focus on your own path. Celebrate your own wins. Measure yourself against who you were last year, last month, yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters. Are you stronger than you were before? Are you wiser, more disciplined, more focused? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right path. If the answer is no, then it's time to adjust, to refocus, to get back to work. But either way, the only person you should be competing with is yourself. And here's something else to consider. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you start to feel real freedom. You stop feeling the pressure to prove something. You stop chasing things that don't actually matter to you. You start making decisions based on what's right for your own life, not based on what will impress others. And that is where true confidence comes from. Not from being better than someone else, but from knowing that you are walking your own path on your own terms, at your own pace. So let go of comparison. Let go of the need to measure yourself against people who have nothing to do with your journey. Focus on yourself, improve yourself, and when you do, you'll realize that the only competition that ever mattered was the one between you and the person you were yesterday. People want results, and they want them now. They set goals, they start working towards something meaningful, and the moment they don't see immediate success, they get frustrated, they doubt themselves, they start questioning whether it's even worth it, and many give up entirely, not because they weren't capable, not because their goal was impossible, but because they lacked patience, because they expected to plant a seed and see a tree the next morning. But that's not how growth works. That's not how success works. Anything truly worthwhile, anything that holds real value, demands time, persistence, and the discipline to keep going even when the results aren't visible yet. The world today is built on instant gratification. People are addicted to quick rewards, fast food, quick likes on social media, easy entertainment. And that mindset bleeds into everything. They expect their ambitions to unfold the same way. They want to start a business and be successful within a month. They want to build a strong body without enduring years of hard training. They want deep relationships without putting in the effort to understand and grow with another person. But the reality is, anything that comes quickly is usually shallow. It doesn't last. The things that truly shape you, that make you strong, that set you apart, those things take time. And this is where persistence comes in. Because patience alone is not enough. It's not just about waiting. It's about continuing to show up day after day, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when the effort seems pointless, even when the progress is so slow that it's barely noticeable. Because that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Not intelligence, not talent, but the ability to keep going when most people quit. You have to be willing to play the long game. You have to understand that success, real success, is built brick by brick in silence over years of consistent effort. And you won't always feel motivated. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when your mind tells you it's not working, when you start to wonder if all the effort is even worth it. But in those moments, you have a choice. You can give in to that doubt and walk away, or you can keep going. And if you keep going, if you refuse to quit, eventually something shifts. The work compounds. The small, seemingly insignificant efforts start to add up. And one day you look back and realize just how far you've come. But most people never reach that point. They give up too soon. They stop 3 feet from gold because they can't see the progress happening beneath the surface. And that's a tragedy, because so often the difference between success and failure isn't ability, it's endurance. It's the willingness to keep moving forward even when it feels like you're standing still. Think about the strongest, most capable people you admire. Do you think they got there overnight? Do you think they never struggled, never faced moments of uncertainty, never felt like quitting? Of course they did, but they didn't stop. They embraced the process. They trusted that if they continued to put in the work, the results would follow. And they did. Not because they were special, but because they were relentless. That same opportunity is available to you. No matter what you're working toward, no matter what challenges you're facing, the key is to keep going, to accept that progress is slow, that growth is uncomfortable, that setbacks are inevitable. But none of that means you're failing. It only means you're on the right path. Because anything worth having takes time. Anything that truly transforms you requires effort. And if you have the patience to endure and the persistence to push through, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, bending to expectations, seeking validation from those who don't even understand their journey. But real freedom, real strength comes when you stop living for the opinions of others and start living in alignment with your own values. Inner peace isn't found in applause or recognition. It's found in self-respect, in knowing that your actions are guided by purpose, not by the need to impress. The moment you stop needing external validation, you become untouchable. Because a person who is at peace with themselves cannot be controlled by the fleeting approval of the world. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Your life is yours to build. Your focus, your energy, your discipline, and your mindset will determine the person you become. The world will try to pull you in 100 different directions, distracting you with noise, comparison, and meaningless pursuits. But if you can stay centered, if you can commit to your own growth in silence, if you can protect your energy and move with patience and persistence, nothing can stop you. True strength isn't found in validation or in proving yourself to others. It's found in mastering yourself.